Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to jump into today's topic with you. Right now, we're focusing our lens on what is, without a doubt, the geographical center of gravity for global risk. Yep, we're talking about Taiwan. Whether you track global economics, follow military strategy, or honestly just want to understand why world leaders are constantly sweating over supply chains, you really need to understand this island. It's the ultimate global flashpoint. Okay, let's dive right into this. Just look at the incredible contrast we're dealing with here. Geographically speaking, Taiwan is tiny. It's got roughly the same physical footprint as the US state of Maryland or the country of Belgium. But then, look over at the right side. You see a staggeringly high number, a $10 trillion global risk. So how does a piece of land that small literally dictate the economic security of the entire planet? Well, that intense, crazy contrast is exactly what we are going to unpack today. To do that, here is our roadmap. First, we'll look at why Taiwan is the world's ultimate choke point. Then, we'll examine what analysts are calling the 𝓝𝓸𝓻. Third, we'll break down gray zone warfare. Fourth, we'll map out the superpower collision course. And finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up with the ultimate global paradox. All right, starting us off is Section 1, the world's ultimate choke point, center of global risk. To truly grasp the geopolitical tension here, we kind of have to look past the standard world map. Superpowers aren't on edge simply because of territorial pride. They're on edge because of this island's completely unique, almost surgical positioning in the global system. Taiwan isn't just a piece of land. It actually operates as the central nervous system for modern global trade and technology. You disrupt this single node, and the entire global network basically goes dark. And that brings us to the micro-level economics in Section 2, the 𝓝𝓸𝓻. Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer concentration of power. The first massive risk we're talking about is sitting right inside the device you are using to watch this explainer right now. Taiwan produces roughly 60% of the entire world's semiconductors. Basically, a single company on this island, TSMC, holds the keys to the global tech ecosystem. They are quite literally manufacturing the lifeblood of the 21st century. But honestly, 60% isn't even the scariest number. Look at this, 90%. Taiwan doesn't just make the standard everyday chips that go into your microwave or digital clock. No, they produce 90% of the world's most advanced microchips. We're talking about the microscopic powerhouses driving artificial intelligence, advanced military hardware, and the next generation of computing. For years, geopolitical analysts called this dynamic the Silicon Shield. The theory was that the world relies on Taiwan so heavily that nobody would ever dare let a conflict happen there. But lately, experts are shifting their tone. They're calling it a 𝓝𝓸𝓻. Think of the ancient Roman military formation, where soldiers locked their shields together to form an impenetrable wall. See, TSMC is not a self-contained island. It relies on this interlocking shield wall of global partners. You've got precise machine tools from the Netherlands, specialized chemicals from Japan, and complex software from the United States. If any one of those interlocking pieces is disrupted by a conflict, that entire shield wall shatters. And if that shield shatters, well, here is the bill. $10 trillion. According to Bloomberg estimates, a hot war or a total economic blockade of Taiwan would trigger a $10 trillion hit to the global economy. To put that into perspective for a second, that is roughly 10% of the entire global GDP completely wiped out. It would instantly freeze the production of iPhones, cars, advanced medical equipment, and all that massive infrastructure we need to power the AI boom. It would be an economic earthquake unlike anything we've seen in modern history. Let's zoom out from the tech a bit and look at the physical space around the island in Section 3, Gray Zone Warfare Explained. The threat to Taiwan isn't just about what's built on the island itself. It's heavily about the water surrounding it. Nearly 50%, literally half of the entire global container ship fleet, passes through the narrow Taiwan Strait. This narrow body of water is, for all intents and purposes, the highway of global wealth. Whoever controls this water controls the flow of modern commerce, period. Now, when people think of a threat to Taiwan, they usually picture a sudden, chaotic, D-Day-style amphibious invasion. But the immediate fear among military planners is actually something much more subtle. It's known as gray zone warfare. By definition, these are calculated military and state actions that stay purposefully, carefully, just below the threshold of an open declaration of war. It's a creeping, methodical pressure. and this brilliantly illustrates exactly how those gray zone tactics play out in reality. First, you see massive encirclement drills by Beijing's military. Next, Coast Guard vessels slowly push into restricted waters. Then, there's a choking off of Taiwan's outer island outposts. Step by step, the noose tightens. The ultimate fear here is that this slowly escalates into a full economic blockade, which wouldn't just isolate Taipei, but would effectively choke off those vital global trade lanes connecting Europe to the Americas. Which brings us to the historical and political friction driving all of this. Section 4. The Superpower Collision Course. To understand the geopolitical chessboard here, we have to look impartially at the core political friction. On the left side, we have Taiwan's stance. Under leaders like President William Lai Ching-te, Taiwan operates as a vibrant, self-governing democracy with its own constitution and military. On the right side, we have Beijing's unyielding stance. The mainland views Taiwan strictly as a breakaway province that must be reunited with the motherland, explicitly reserving the right to use force if necessary. So we're looking at two fundamentally incompatible realities occupying the exact same geographic space. And historically, managing this friction has been this incredibly delicate balancing act. For decades in the past, the United States relied on a policy known as strategic ambiguity, basically deliberately keeping both Beijing and Taipei guessing about whether American troops would directly intervene to defend the island. It was a strategy designed to prevent either side from making a drastic, sudden move. But look at recent years. Beijing's rhetoric has shifted significantly from merely opposing independence to actively cracking down on it, backed by massive surges in funding for autonomous and AI-driven warfare. And today, well, that old strategic ambiguity is wearing very, very thin. The US is actively authorizing billions in advanced arms for Taiwan, and middle powers like Japan are now explicitly linking Taiwan's security to their own national survival. The historical lines in the sand are being drawn much deeper than ever before. Let's bring all of these dominoes together as we enter our final section. Section 5, the ultimate global paradox. This quote perfectly captures the terrifying reality of Taiwan's position in the world today. It's a modern, thriving society and an absolutely indispensable technological hub, yet it's perfectly trapped in a titanic tug-of-war between the world's largest superpowers. Because of its semiconductor monopoly, the global economy dictates it cannot be abandoned. Because of its proximity to mainland China and the geography of the strait, it cannot easily be defended. And because of the decades of highly specialized infrastructure built by TSMC and its partners, it simply cannot be replaced. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Will the world's most indispensable island trigger a perfect global storm? The pieces are all on the board, and the stakes quite literally could not be higher. If you want to dive even deeper into the exact warning signs, the amphibious military capabilities, and the economic thresholds shaping this crisis right this very second, I highly recommend you check out our companion explainer titled, Will China Invade Taiwan? Experts' new insight reveals perfect storm. It is a fascinating breakdown you absolutely won't want to miss. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.